I am endowed with an innate lie detector. Those who resort to deceit shall invariably face the corresponding consequences. My parents profess their impartiality, claiming that they do not favor sons over daughters, asserting that both genders are of equal worth. Ultimately, they transformed into asexual beings, rendering them incapable of bearing children. In a state of resignation, my grandmother adopted a boy. In her quest to ensure his robust growth, she deceived me into allowing her to pierce my scalp with needles, only for the needles to be thrust into her cherished grandson instead. Upon reaching adulthood, my boyfriend proposed to me, vowing to love me for eternity, else he would be struck down by lightning. Ultimately, he indeed met his demise at the hands of a thunderbolt. My unique ability caught the attention of a wealthy young lady who commissioned me to assess her boyfriend's fidelity, offering a sum of $3 million. Swiftly, I gained notoriety within the circles of the affluent, with many seeking my services. As I gazed at the lengthy numbers in my bank account, I felt an unprecedented yearning for the existence of more lies in this world. Chapter 1. After graduating from high school, just as I received my acceptance letter, my boyfriend knelt before me, proposing with a ring of cheap plastic. The onlookers erupted in a chorus of encouragement. Say yes. Say yes. I gazed at the paltry token in his hand, my tone measured. Do you truly love me? He nodded eagerly. Yes, I love you. He raised 3 fingers in a solemn vow. I swear, I will love you for a lifetime, or else I will be struck by lightning. I believed him, a tender smile gracing my lips. Yet, in the next instant, the familiar tone of deceit echoed in my ears. The sound, all too recognizable, caused my smile to falter. Suddenly, dark clouds gathered, and thunder rumbled ominously. My boyfriend looked up, bewildered, as the crowd murmured, "It looks like rain." Then, I watched helplessly as lightning struck him. He remained in position, his body charred. His widened eyes glazed. The plastic ring was scorched black, rolling from his palm like his insincere heart, shattered into smithereens. A dead man. Disappointment flickered in my eyes as I turned away, ignoring the cries and shouts behind me. I lay in my rented room for 2 days, preparing to cook instant noodles when a knock resounded at the door. Upon opening it, I was taken aback to find the renowned heiress, Wen Qi, standing there. She gestured to her 2 bodyguards, who promptly invaded my space. I was forcefully pressed onto the sofa, staring at her in disbelief. Your boyfriend is dead, isn't? My expression shifted slightly. Such a direct inquiry felt rather impolite. When Chui lifted her chin, and her bodyguards produced 2 boxes, filled to the brim with cash. Ninkingyu. I know your abilities. You can discern whether someone is lying. If you help me test my boyfriend, all this money will be yours. I felt a surge of temptation, yet hesitated, cautioning it could end poorly. When Chui raised her voice, do you think I care? I am perfect. How could he possibly not love me? The lie detection sound chimed again, and I sighed inwardly. She clearly cared. In the next moment, a light bulb fell from above. Her bodyguards swiftly shielded her. When Chui let out a shriek, hastily rising, her eyes darting to me in panic. See? You lied. You cared deeply for your boyfriend. I possessed an innate lie detection ability. Whenever someone deceived me, a sound would alert me, and the deceiver would face a corresponding consequence, whether minor or severe. When Chui's eyes sparkled with newfound hope, then help me. Should I call him over? Here's his contact information. Chapter 2. I first attempted to add Chu Xinian's contact. However, my request was declined. He had rejected me. When Chui appeared somewhat pleased. See? He has boundaries. I gazed at the stacks of cash, desire flickering in my eyes. I cleared my throat, suggesting, why don't you bring him over tomorrow? I can test him in person with just a few questions. When Chui was elated. Great. After bidding them farewell, I carefully closed the door to my rented room and lunged for the money. I counted each bill, my fingers cramping from the sheer amount. Perhaps I had never seen such wealth in my life. I counted a total of 3 million, going over it 3 times. When Chui truly was affluent, I would need to work to fund my college tuition for the next 4 years. Yet, before I could revel in my joy, my parents called. Zhaodi, do you have any money? We want to send a little gift to the matchmaker to help your brother find a wife. I replied flatly. I have no money. Perfect. I found a good match for you. After all the education you've received, it's useless. You need to think of your brother. If he remains single, What will become of him? I couldn't help but laugh. I hung up the phone. Almost immediately, my phone was bombarded with messages, berating me as an ungrateful wretch. As a child, upon discovering my innate lie detector, I eagerly tested whether my parents loved me. Mom and Dad, will you abandon me once you have a little brother? My mother gently stroked my face. How could we ever abandon you? You are our beloved child, regardless of gender. That night, they transformed into asexual beings. When they received the medical report, they wailed in despair. Our son! We are losing our son! It was at that moment I realized their love for me was a facade. No wonder they named me Zhaodi. Seeing them cry so grotesquely, I couldn't suppress my laughter. My father, having heard, grabbed a bamboo stick, ready to strike me. You're an asexual being. You aren't even a man. How can you call yourself my father? My outburst made the entire village aware of the situation. My parents were utterly humiliated, contemplating suicide with pesticides that very day. My grandmother, in her desperation, brought home a boy, soothing their shattered spirits. My parents doted on him, insisting I call him my brother. Later, my grandmother heard of a remedy that could ensure her precious grandson's robust growth. She approached me with 3 silver needles, saying, Zhaodi, if you let me insert these needles into your head, you will become intelligent. My expression turned cold, the lie detection sound buzzing incessantly in my ears, nearly deafening me. All right, I wish to become smart. It was the perfect opportunity to test whether those who lied to me could inflict harm. Worst case, I could flee at any moment. However, just as the needle was about to touch my head, my brother began to cry uncontrollably. My grandmother rushed to soothe him, but by nightfall, he still wailed. My parents, anxious, took him to the hospital, only to discover the 3 silver needles lodged in his head. From that day forth, he became dim-witted. The family was plunged into despair, utterly devastated. My experiment had succeeded. Those who lied to me could not harm me. I gathered the money, stashing it beneath my bed, preparing to deposit it in the bank the next day. Wen Qi acted swiftly, sending me the address the very next morning. There were not only Chu Xinyan but also Wen Qi's close friend, Song Xiaoxiao. Wen Qi readily explained, this is my good friend. She is quite curious about you. I understood. She likely worried that Wen Qi might fall victim to my deception. After all, who would readily believe in my extraordinary abilities? Chapter 3. I cleared my throat. Shall we begin? Chu Xinyan sat up straight, intertwining his fingers with Wen Qi's. Do you wish to marry Wen Qi? He nodded, of course. I only want to marry Qi. No sound of deceit rang out. Wen Qi's excitement was palpable as she looked at me. I shook my finger at her, indicating there was no lie. Do you love her? Chu Xinyan declared firmly, yes, I love her. We are destined to be together. Again, no sound came forth. Wen Qi's smile widened to the point of almost reaching her ears. Chu Xinyan genuinely loved her. She suddenly sprang to her feet. All right, the test is complete. Ning Qingyu, thank you so much. I hadn't anticipated the difficulty in obtaining this money. Beside us, Song Xiaoxiao scoffed. Oh, Qi, this person is just a fraud, trying to con you out of money. Don't let her leave you penniless. No way. I've already sent someone to observe Qingyu. That day, her boyfriend lied and was struck by lightning. It turned out Wen Qi had been present that day as well. Song Xiaoxiao shrugged in disbelief. Fine. I'm off to get my nails done. Had I known it would be this dull, I wouldn't have come. Suddenly, I interjected, you're lying. You won't be getting your nails done today. Song Xiaoxiao reacted vehemently. What are you talking about? In the next moment, the coffee cup before us exploded, sending splatters everywhere. Chu Xinyan instinctively released Wen Qi's hand, shielding Song Xiaoxiao. The atmosphere grew tense. This was clearly an instinctive reaction from Chu Xinyan. I immediately realized this was it. Why did you shield Song Xiaoxiao? Chu Xinyan inquired, his tone slightly flustered, instinctively glancing at Wen Qi. Because she is a friend of Qi. How could I possibly stand by and watch her get hurt? The sound of the polygraph signal rang out. The reason was incorrect. I became agitated. So, what is your relationship with Song Xiaoxiao? Chu Xinyan stumbled over his words. She is my girlfriend's good sister. This time, there was no sound. I clarified. I am asking about your relationship with Song Xiaoxiao, not Miss Wen. Chu Xinyan mumbled. We are barely friends. The signal sounded once more. You are lying. Chu Xinyan's expression turned frantic. What are you talking about? He abruptly glanced at Wen Chuyi and, upon seeing the suspicion in her eyes, became even more flustered. Chuyi, she is just a swindler. Don't believe her. Song Xiaoxiao and I are merely friends. Song Xiaoxiao quickly added, yes, she must be lying. Wen Chuyi fixed her gaze on him, questioning, what were you doing that Saturday night? Why do you smell of women's perfume? It turned out that Wen Chuyi's suspicions had a basis. I repeated my question. Sweat trickled down Chu Xinyan's forehead. He dryly replied, I was studying. Chuyi knows. Another lie. I turned to Song Xiaoxiao and asked with a smile, and you? What were you doing? Song Xiaoxiao nervously clutched her sleeves, not believing I could discern who was lying. Summoning her courage, she said, I was getting my nails done. I change my nails every Saturday. It's a habit I've always had. While it was true that Song Xiaoxiao had a habit of changing her nails weekly, that night she had done more than just that. I looked at Wen Chuyi and said, they are both lying. Impossible. I have classmates who can vouch for me. Soon his classmate arrived. I asked earnestly, did you see Chu Xinyan studying that night, without doing anything else? His classmate nodded firmly. Yes, Chu was studying. I sighed. Miss Wen, I suggest you investigate further. They are all lying. Song Xiaoxiao exclaimed, are you done? How could I possibly be involved with Chu Xinyan? You're just a fraud. I replied evenly. Then, do you dare swear that you and Chu Xinyan are completely innocent? Chapter 4. Song Xiaoxiao dared not. Though she was unaware of how I discerned her lies. A sense of unease loomed within her. I turned to Chu Xinyan. Swear. Of course I can swear. But let this matter end here. I have no time to continue the charade with you, fraud. Chuyi, I am so disappointed in you. I love you so much, and I play along with your games. Yet you doubt me. Wen Chuyi, recalling my boyfriend's fate, felt a surge of anxiety. Perhaps we should let this go. I will investigate on my own. The atmosphere grew tense. Although this matter would end here, the money would not be refunded. Yet I abhorred those who betray sincerity. I fixed my gaze on Song Xiaoxiao and smiled, Miss Song. It seems I never accused you and Chu Xinyan of having an affair. Why are you so anxious? Wen Chuyi's expression shifted slightly as she abruptly looked at Chu Xinyan and Song Xiaoxiao. Chu Xinyan appeared quite agitated, raking his hair in frustration. Chuyi, haven't you suspected me of cheating? Fine, I admit it, I have cheated. Are you satisfied now? Chuyi, your jealousy will only erode my love for you. Not a single polygraph signal rang out this time. This was problematic, indicating that all were speaking the truth. A sense of guilt unconsciously rose within Wen Chuyi. Could it be that she was truly overly suspicious? Chu Xinyan then said to Song Xiaoxiao, you swear, and if your oath proves false, I will compensate you with a car. We can just entertain Wen Chuyi. Song Xiaoxiao's heart instantly lightened. She raised 3 fingers. I swear. If I am involved with Chu Xinyan, stealing my good sister's man, may I be struck by a car the moment I step out. Chu Xinyan smiled. Is that enough? I nodded. That is sufficient. Chu Xinyan took Wen Chuyi's hand. Chuyi, believe me, I have never cheated. The only person I love is you. Let us consider this over. I truly cannot afford such jokes. Wen Chuyi's expression softened, and she hesitantly nodded. Goodbye, you all may leave. I still wish to enjoy the pastries on the table. I lowered my head, diligently savoring the cake. A piece of cake costs over 1,000. I have never tasted anything like this in my life. Song Xiaoxiao rolled her eyes. Pauper. Wen Chuyi frowned. Xiaoxiao, you mustn't be rude. Song Xiaoxiao snorted coldly. Just as I was finishing the last piece of cake, I heard the sound of a car's screeching brakes. I lifted my coffee and stood by the window to look down. I saw Song Xiaoxiao being thrown from the impact, unconscious, with blood oozing from her head. The car, not yet stopping, careened directly into Chu Xinyan and his classmate. Screams erupted. Chu Xinyan was slammed against a tree, clutching his leg in agony. Ah, my leg is broken. For they had all lied. The price of deceit was exacted upon each individual, whether lightly or heavily. A panic-stricken and fearful Wen Chuyi looked up, meeting my gaze. I raised my glass in acknowledgement. Your money was not wasted. Chapter 5. Wen Chuyi returned to my rented apartment with me, crying incessantly along the way. I took out the cheap napkins I bought for 0.9 yuan and wiped her tears. After all, she is my benefactor. Song Xiaoxiao died on the spot. Chu Xinyan suffered a broken leg. His classmate only sustained minor injuries, a false alarm. I have sacrificed so much for Chu Xinyan, even bringing resources to his family. How could he betray me? When Qi wailed. Song Xiaoxiao comes from a poor family. I funded her tuition. Why would they betray me? When Qi cried loudly. I grew somewhat impatient, but considering she was my benefactor, I endured and said, "This is a good thing." Some people remain oblivious to the lies of those beside them. I finally managed to console Wen Qi. Then, her bodyguard delivered several surveillance videotapes. Upon viewing the contents, Wen Qi once again broke down in tears. It turned out that every time Song Xiaoxiao went for a manicure, she was in bed with Chu Xinyan. I found it curious how they had so much time. I had endless papers to write. Soon, a neighbor came over to warn us. "Stop the noise if you want to cry. Go outside." I hurriedly covered Wen Qi's mouth, fearing she would start an argument. When Qi choked back her sobs, "Did I do something wrong?" I could not bear to see her reflect, and coldly remarked, "At first, you said you didn't take care." When Qi froze, dryly replying, "At least I should be sad for a few days." I sighed in resignation. "You should go. I need to rest." As the school year approached, my parents and younger brother came to visit. They barged into my apartment, expressing disdain. "Why did you rent such a small place? We can't even fit." I keenly grasped the underlying message. It truly is small. Doesn't this imply a lack of funds? Perhaps you should find somewhere else to stay. My mother matter-of-factly stated, "Then you pay for it. We have no money." Ever since they discovered they had become asexual, they had refused to work, living off a small patch of land. Poor grandma, at her old age, still had to take odd jobs to support them. My ability to attend school relies on my hard work, allowing me to avoid tuition fees. I had none. My father sighed. "If I had known, I wouldn't have let you go to school. You should have married early. Now you have a child, wasting money." My younger brother curiously wandered around the room, picking up my admission notice and throwing it at my father. My father carefully caught it, seeing the university's name. "Oh. Peking University. A prestigious school. You should receive a good reward for getting in." My tone was indifferent. "There is no reward." Yet, the next moment, my father casually tore the admission notice to shreds. "Stay home. Don't go to school. It's a waste of money. We have already found you a good husband." I stared at them. "Do you dare swear that he is truly a good husband?" My mother's voice rose. "Zhaodi, are our parents indebted to you? Why should we swear? We are doing this for your own good." I remained unperturbed, my composure as steady as a rock. "For my own good, can you prevent me from attending school? For my own good, can you adopt a younger brother for me? For my own good, can you tear up my acceptance letter?" Upon hearing these words, my father was instantly consumed by rage and struck me fiercely. I maintained a stoic expression, pushing my hair aside, seizing my father's head, and brandishing a hammer from the coffee table, I struck down with great force. Blood erupted instantly. "You beast!" Still having the energy to curse, I struck again. My father cried out in pain, "You've killed me. You've killed me." Their lethargic disposition, lying around all day, could not hinder my wrath. I continued to pummel him, and soon his bald head was a gruesome mess. My mother wailed in despair, "You beast! How dare you strike your father?" I seized the moment to mock. Is he even a man? Does he deserve to be called my father? Chapter 6. My parents were nearly driven to the brink of death by anger. Ever since they had become asexual, all semblance of gender had vanished. Literally, they had become asexual beings. My father, fearful of another blow, fell silent. My mother forced a smile. "Look, you've already struck him. Can you come back with us to get married? We wouldn't harm you." Another lie. "Then you must swear. Swear that you will treat me well. Swear that the family I marry into is a good one. And I will return with you." My mother gasped, her anger boiling. But for the sake of the 30,000 dowry, she gritted her teeth and said, "I swear we will treat you well. That family is good. Or else we'll be crushed by a falling plane." The probability of being crushed by a plane is exceedingly low. It seems I have a knack for demanding oaths. "Then let us depart." My parents eagerly grasped my arms, hastening to lead me outside. However, as soon as we reached the ground floor, before they could even display a smile, a tragedy struck, and a hole was smashed into their heads. I stared at the ground, the sunlight casting their shadows. Blood splattered into the air, some even landing on my face. The grip of their hands around my arms slackened, and my parents fell straight back. My younger brother, witnessing the horror, whimpered in fear. Then, a scream pierced the air from Wenqi. Someone is dead. Someone is dead. I looked expressionlessly at their lifeless bodies, my parents' eyes nearly bulging from their sockets. Above their heads was a small toy airplane model, tiny, yet capable of being fatal when plummeting from a height. Wenqi rushed to me, asking what happened. Lies beget retribution, I replied. I looked up at the rooftop, where several parents were hastily descending with their children, stammering apologies to me.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We will compensate you as required. Your child is still young. Can you please? I glanced at 3 children nearby and said, next time, don't play on the rooftop. It wouldn't be good if someone were to be hurt. Thankfully, it was my parents who had met their demise. I signed a letter of understanding for them. Yet their consciences weighed heavily, and they scraped together 800,000 for me. Wenqi was left dumbfounded by my actions. Those were your real parents, I replied calmly. They were going to sell me for a dowry. Wenqi fell silent, only to ask after a moment, what is a dowry? Truly a sheltered young lady unaware of worldly woes. I arranged for a vehicle to transport them all back to our hometown. My grandmother cried out in grief upon seeing their bodies. I left the entire 800,000 with her, after all. She still needed to care for my mentally disabled cousin. From that moment on, this family had no ties to me. After all the chaos, Wenqi finally revealed her purpose for seeking me out. My aunt would like your assistance. I frowned. Is this another test of men? Wenqi shook her head. No. My aunt doesn't care about a man's sincerity. She has no idea how many male lovers she has taken in. The price? Wenqi held up a finger. 10 million. My heart raced at the prospect. I climbed into Wenqi's car, heading to her aunt's villa. At that moment, her aunt was engaged with a man. Wenqi smiled awkwardly. That's just how my aunt is. We waited for a while until her aunt concluded. She waved dismissively to the man, who obediently dressed and departed. Her aunt had a voluptuous figure. She casually draped a garment over herself and turned to look at me. She was quite striking, albeit her face was somewhat rough. I felt nervous. I'm straight. Chapter 7. Her aunt chuckled, gesturing for Wenqi to leave the room. I've heard you can discern when someone is lying. I nodded, indeed. From now on, stay by my side, and I will pay you 10 million each month. Internally, I was taken aback, yet I maintained a composed demeanor. What exactly will I be doing? Accompanying me in negotiations. Understood. From then on, I accompanied her aunt daily, engaging in business discussions. Many began to recognize me, assuming I was well-connected. Those in the know sought to recruit me with generous offers. The ability to detect lies naturally gave me an edge in the business world. My wealth increased steadily as I juggled between school and work, occasionally taking on minor contracts. To facilitate my schedule, Wenqi established a studio for me, funding it herself, to secure my commitment to her aunt. Of course, the majority of the minor contracts I handled were related to emotional issues. In truth, I found it perplexing why they were so fixated on love. No one would love another for a lifetime. One day, the campus belle from Jing University approached me, her expression troubled as she handed me 100,000. This is the most I can offer. Please help me. What do you need? The belle struggled to voice her request, her words barely a whisper. Can you ask my stepfather if he truly cares for me? I paused. Bring him here, and I can inquire. Days later, the belle indeed brought her stepfather. The two maintained a distant demeanor, her gaze toward him laden with anguish, as if ensnared in sorrow. I, adhering to my professional decorum, revealed no personal emotions. I asked directly, do you love her? The stepfather replied, no. No lies detected. The belle panicked, tears welling in her eyes. All right, mission accomplished. The stepfather explained. After her mother passed, I took care of her out of obligation. She relies on me. Once she is of age, I will no longer be responsible for her. The belle stood up in agitation. Chu Junshan, I refuse to believe you don't love me. I held my head in frustration, but just then, the door to my studio swung open. To my astonishment, I beheld Chu Xinyan, donning prosthetics. Uncle, what are you doing here? Upon seeing me, his eyes burned with hatred. The stepfather sighed. Just playing with the child. The bell continued to sob, trembling all over. Chu Xinyan appeared anxious. You didn't make any oaths, did you? The stepfather, puzzled, replied, no. Why are you here? Chu Xinyan sighed in relief. I need to speak with Miss Ning. The stepfather shrugged. Looks like Miss Ning is quite popular. He then took the bell and left. Chu Xinyan plopped down in front of me. You deceiver. You ruined my life and caused Song Xiaoxiao's death. I responded flatly. You were the one who lied. Chu Xinyan pointed at me. I want to let this go. That day, my studio was vandalized. News of my scandal erupted online. 2 elderly women and a middle-aged man appeared before the media, lamenting how I had defrauded them of 30,000 in dowry. Soon after, many others emerged, some former clients, accusing me of fraud and profiting from my ability to discern lies. Many who were unaware of the situation did not believe me, assuming I was a swindler. The police took me away. I calmly informed the officers, I haven't deceived anyone, nor have I engaged in fraudulent marriage. Chapter 8. You claim you haven't deceived anyone. How are you any different from a pyramid scheme? The difference is vast. I can identify lies. Yet, those who do not believe will never trust me. I contacted Wen Qi, and soon she sent someone to extricate me from this predicament. However, without clarification, my reputation remains tarnished. As I traverse the school grounds, I am met with scornful jeers. I remain unfazed, secretly gathering evidence with Wen Qi. All of this is orchestrated by Chu Xinyan. The individuals who accuse me of marriage fraud are indeed those my parents selected as my in-laws. They took the bride price without my consent. I reached out to them, hoping to ascertain the situation, ideally to receive an explanation that would absolve me of the unfair burden. The only one who showed up was Zhang Daong. Upon seeing me, he lunged forward, his hands attempting to caress my face. With a grin revealing his crooked yellow teeth, he exclaimed, so tender. I've never been with a female university student before. I evaded his grasp, fixing him with a cold glare. How much did Chu Xinyan pay you? Not much, just 500,000. Excellent. You profited 50,000 by slandering me. Now help me clarify that I never took your bride price, nor did I engage in marriage fraud. Zhang Daong's expression shifted. Are you toying with me? You will come home with me to bear children. Women are meant to be pleasured by me. Do not bring the vile habits you've learned outside back home. I managed a resigned smile. I had no intention of confronting them. Zhang Daong, do you believe in retribution? He paused, then scoffed. You are merely spreading deceit. I know you've earned quite a bit through your scams. From now on, I will ensure you cannot keep your money. As no woman can. Zhang Daong glanced around, realizing there were few witnesses. He smirked. Wife, let me enjoy you first, then we'll return home. I was forcibly pushed to the ground by Zhang Daong. Gazing at his grotesque visage, I inquired, will you treat me well in the future? He casually replied, of course. But let me have my pleasure first. I've yet to be with a university student. The lie took effect, and a notification echoed in my ears. I turned away, revealing a smile. A shriek erupted from the sprawled Zhang Daong, who frantically clutched his lower half, collapsing to the ground. I sat up, crossing my legs as I looked at him, witnessing the blood pooling from his lower body. Ah! Help! Zhang Daong struggled to rise, intent on reaching a hospital. His male anatomy fell from his pant leg. It was truly grotesque. I stood, regarding the despairing Zhang Daong with icy indifference. His eyes were bloodshot, hands clenching his precious manhood. Ning Zhaodi, what have you done to me? What have you done? I replied cheerfully, I did not commit fraud. I can discern the truth behind lies. They will face the appropriate consequences for their deceit. Clearly, Zhang Daong's lies were substantial. I suspected he would not only mistreat me, but would also abuse me. Hence, the very thing he cherished was severed. Chapter 9. I picked up my bag and turned to leave. This path was fruitless, and I decided to have Wen Qi unveil all that Chu Xinyan had orchestrated against me. All the individuals he hired to tarnish my name. Public opinion swiftly reversed, yet my reputation as a fraudster could not be entirely exonerated. Many remained skeptical of my ability to see through lies. If such a gift existed, the world would indeed descend into chaos. My studio reopened, yet Chu Xinyan was relentless. He sent numerous individuals to trouble me. I welcomed them all. After all, they brought me profit, so why not? Chu Xinyan warned them sternly. Do not lie to her. And certainly do not swear an oath. Ironically, a man who disbelieved in the supernatural, who lied to me and swore, met his downfall. The moment he stepped outside, he was scorched by the sun, utterly dried out. A crowd quickly gathered. Chu Xinyan seized the opportunity to report me for attempted murder, dredging up the deaths of my former boyfriend and my parents. In a frenzied tirade at the police station, he shouted, "You must believe me. Ning Qingyu is a calamity. She is killing in her own way. She is a monster." Chu Xinyan's eyes were sunken, his appearance disheveled. Since he lost his limb, he had not slept well for many days. I sat silently in a chair, speaking only when questioned by the police. "After leaving your studio, the deceased spontaneously combusted. Did you have a hand in this to validate your powers?" I shook my head. I did not do it. He swore to me he had not defrauded his mother's pension, or he would die in the sun. The result was his demise, at his own hands. Fear coursed through Chu Xinyan as he shivered uncontrollably. I spoke lightly. "If you do not believe me, you may check my surveillance footage. Every moment of my work is recorded, beyond reproach." I raised my gaze to Chu Xinyan. "Do not provoke me again. I have no time to waste on you. My sole intention is to earn money, nothing more." Chu Xinyan trembled, uncertain whether from rage or fear. "Ning Qingyu, have you placed a curse on me?" Since encountering me, his life had spiraled downward. First, he lost his leg, then his parents' trust, severing his ties to power. The Chu family does not lack for sons. I am not so sinister. Only those with sincerity thrive. Wen Chui arrived late with her aunt. "Qingyu, are you all right?" Upon seeing Wen Chui, tears streamed down Chu Xinyan's face. "Wen Chui, why are you still associating with this evil spirit? She will inevitably bring you harm. It is impossible to live in a world devoid of lies. One cannot escape deceit forever. Are you not afraid? Not afraid of retribution befalling you?" When Chui hesitated. "Chu Xinyan, it seems you still do not comprehend right from wrong. You betrayed me, and you deserve to perish, understand?" Chu Xinyan clutched his chest in agony. "Chui, I merely wanted to sample something new. I never intended to leave you. I wish to marry you." When Chui laughed. "You only seek to marry me for the wealth of the Wen family." I interjected quietly. "Miss Wen, as long as you do not lie to me, you will not face repercussions, so do not heed his deceitful words. A minor lie may bring misfortune, but the world should allow for benevolent falsehoods, should it not?" Chapter 10. I was once again extricated from the police station. My aunt informed me, "Tomorrow, I need you to negotiate with me." With Chu Xinyan's repeated antics, my studio could not continue, and my time was stretched thin. My aunt was, after all, a significant client. I nodded in agreement. My aunt smiled brightly, immediately gifting me a designer handbag worth over $1 million. I accepted it. Her tone turned cold. "I will not allow Chu Xinyan to have an easy time. I cannot afford to lose you." I understood that her need for me stemmed from my value. Yet I was curious about her plans for Chu Xinyan. I inquired, "Why won't you allow him to thrive? He dares not lie now. The Chu family is on the verge of decline. By next year, I will be able to absorb the Chu family." I had not anticipated that this negotiation would involve my aunt's husband. "Mr. Gu, a pleasure. I am Ning Qingyu, assistant to Mr. Wen." I extended my hand to Mr. Gu. He appeared somewhat anxious upon seeing me, having heard the rumors surrounding my name. Wealthy individuals are often superstitious, and given my reputation, he was even more apprehensive. I spoke to him, but he ignored me entirely. My aunt rolled her eyes, kicking Mr. Gu. "Did you not previously claim dissatisfaction with the divorce agreement? Why are you silent now?" Mr. Gu wiped the sweat from his brow. "You harlot. You have no right to speak to me. Get Ning Qingyu out of here." My aunt's expression was one of disdain. "I simply ask you. When we agreed to this arrangement, we would play our parts but not have children. You destroyed our agreement. Over the years, I have invested considerable resources in you, and you have truly received ample return." Hearing this scandal, my expression remained composed. Aunt cast a fleeting glance in my direction, prompting me to hastily inquire, "Mr. Gu, where have you concealed your son?" Mr. Gu's breath quickened, his voice trembling with fear as he exclaimed, "You are committing murder. You are all murderers." He dared not respond directly, paralyzed by trepidation. My patience waned, and I continued, "Mr. Gu, do not provoke my ire. I possess ample means to extract your secrets. If one day proves insufficient, I shall resort to two. If two falter, then 3 shall suffice. I refuse to believe you can maintain your composure indefinitely. Yet Mr. Gu could scarcely endure 2 hours, for my aunt wielded the threat of his own mother against him. Every individual possesses a vulnerability, a chink in the armor that can be exploited. Defeated, Mr. Gu lowered his head despondently. My son is in Washington, USA, he finally confessed. My aunt's expression shifted dramatically. Summon someone to bring him back at once. What do you intend to do? He stammered. My aunt's lips curled into a sinister smile. Why? To reunite you with your son, of course. Fear overcame Mr. Gu, and he fell to his knees before her, tears streaming down his face. I was wrong, utterly wrong. I am willing to leave everything behind. Please spare me. The notion of starting afresh was far too simple. My aunt replied softly. I shall not let you escape so easily, but we live in a society governed by law, and I have my methods. I regarded my aunt, a scheme brewing in the depths of my mind. Mr. Gu was coerced into lies and oaths. That very night, he was struck by a chandelier, resulting in a life-saving amputation. Aunt, will you treat that child similarly? To my surprise, she did not pursue total annihilation. Instead, she remarked, the child is innocent, however. Stripped of wealth, he is nothing but a pauper destined for a life of poverty. Yet, I inadvertently overheard her lament. Why does he not trust me? Am I truly so malevolent as to harm a 7- or 8-year-old child? There was once love between my aunt and Mr. Gu, but that chapter had come to a close. The following day, I received a sum of 10 million. I gazed at the digits in my bank account, my heart racing with exhilaration. I prayed once more, yearning for an abundance of lies in this world. I seek not sincerity, but merely wealth. Long live money.
The end.
Thank you for listening, and I look forward to our next story.